Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be talking about Castles and Crusades, the Codex Sinarum, which is a Chinese mythos, and I'm going to be doing a review of this. So I'm going to go briefly through the sections on, of this particular codex and hit on the high points of it. I also wanted to put this into the context of the other books that are already in this series and two more that are due to be out very shortly. They came out of Kickstarter, and we are kind of expecting that they should arrive within the next couple of months. So the Codex series are a series of hardcover books, usually running around 128 or so pages each, and each one is a mythological treasure of lore and mythology, mythological creatures and artifacts as well from many of the world's cultures, and so. It is subdivided down into, as of now, seven different areas, and I will be shifting over to a view to go over those briefly with you. So, what is currently available now is the Codex Sinarum, which is the Slavic gods and culture, the Codex I guess it's Celtarum, which is the Celtic gods and culture. The Codex Germania, which is the German gods and culture. Codex Nordica, which is the Vikings. Codex Classicum is a combination of both the Greek and Roman gods and culture. And then finally, the Codex Egyptum, which is ancient Egypt. And then we have the newest in this series, which is the Codex Sinarum, which is a focus on Chinese folklore and mythology and magic items and creatures, both both large and small, and really looking forward to digging into this as well. And then there are two more in the series, as I mentioned. This is the Kickstarter of the Codex Infernum and the Codex Exaltum. All right, and so basically this is your, this is your 9 hells and your 7 heavens that are also going to be included in this long series, bringing the total up to, at this point, bring the total up to 9 of these mythological books to bring into, whether it be your Castles and Crusades campaign, or you could bring them and port these things over into other game systems as well. They're great resources, and without further ado, I am going to jump right into the Codex Sinarum. So let me make sure that we are looking at the same page. We are. I will expand this a little bit, and uniformly across the board, all of these are written by Brian N. Young. So Brian is a historian. So he is a degreed historian that has done exceptional work on these. And as a historian myself, I also hold a master's degree, although in U.S. history and not world history. When I look at these, I can see the academic, endeavor in presenting these, in a very accurate way, and yet still building into it the folklore and the mythology part of it, the fictional aspects of them, into, these books as well. So really impressed with these, and there's a lot of things, especially like the creatures. I pulled the creatures out of these books, kind of frequently actually, and they tend to be, because they are mythological creatures, they tend to be actually fairly tough. And so they do give great challenges to the player character party in any adventure that you happen to be running. So now you can create campaigns that are centered on any one of these cultural aspects, and run whole campaigns based just solely on those, or you can have a vast world that you create yourself and have various different regions of that world reflected in the different mythologies that you're going to see. So obviously, your choice, up to you. So this particular one was printed for the first time in 2020. And like I said, I just picked it up. Its Kickstarter was a while back, and I picked this up as part of a purchase bundle that I did. So I'm going to get right to, now I know when I was speaking to several people about these various projects, and the leaning towards going with the Chinese folklore here was because the creators and the writers and the people over at Troll Lord Games felt that the Oriental adventures in AD&D First Edition, and later editions as well, it was focused on Japanese folklore, and so they wanted to do one that was a little bit more focused on Chinese folklore. So here we go. So the Age from the Ancestors, and again, these run about 128 pages long, and each one has, from the ages of the ancestors, and they are talking about true history here. So you're going to see the, and if I mispronounce these, it's just, I don't know, how, so I guess it's the Xia dynasty, and true world history is being done here. The Yin dynasty, the Zhao dynasty. Then we go into warring states and the various warring states. The Qin dynasty, the Xiang dynasty. I'm sorry, no, that's still part of the Qin. Sorry. The Han dynasty. Now, this one is much more well known. All right, so the Han dynasty, is something that has been the focal point for a lot of tales being told, and this is the dynasty where you have the three kingdoms, and you have various movies and other things, other materials put out there, other publications put out there that kind of focus on this time period. So really, really well-known time period. And then we just go through the rest of the various dynasties, and you can see it's starting to flesh out the map a little bit more as well. And we are moving through, more and more forward into history here. And then we get to the Song, which is the founded in 960. 960 CE. And then we get to the mythic history. So ancient Chinese myths are extremely complex, and their details never in full agreement when it comes to creation, the supernatural, and the mythic minutiae. Chinese mythology is also unclear on the exact nature of divinities, with many sharing the characteristics of deities as imagined by much of the rest of the ancient world, and others holding the concept of Tian, a supreme deity that accords the emperor on earth. So there is going to be a mix of both historical, accuracy here, as well as some conjecture based on dynasties. Based on mythologies. Now we start going into the historical China. And again, this is a very much an academic endeavor here, talking about real world timeline, real world, features such as like the Silk Road and such. And this is all for your use to flesh out what you might be doing in your fictional usage of them. Mythical and Wuxia China. And so obviously you can start to see some of the mythology being shown here as well. And we will continue going through in the lands of legend and power. And so you have a bunch of locations. So 18 more hells in Mandarin. So here are the 18 hells in Mandarin, in the Mandarin mythology, and so on and so forth. So the 10 courts of Yan Lu Wang, although they say something else here. Like I said, I will not pronounce these correctly, and I apologize for that. Now we start getting into walk mighty beasts and beings alike. And so here you're starting to get into the mythological bestiary. Some of them are going to be, animals, and others are going to be much more mythical. All right, so here we have a baihu, let's say. So it's a white tiger. Sacred tiger is believed to become white after living for over 500 years. And the spawn of a white tiger of the West is the guardian of the West and herald of the true kings. And sometimes you could tell what these mystical creatures are based on how much damage they actually do in some cases, right? So this is an 8 hit die creature. And look at its claws. Its claws do 3d6, and its bite does 2d20. So massive amounts of damage with some of these mythical creatures. And so when you're using them, or if you are using them in your game, I like to make these be the focal point of what the player characters are looking to do, and not just some kind of a random encounter that they have. So they're specifically looking to have contact with some of these magical creatures or mythological creatures. And again, not just something that they happen to wander into walking through the woods, let's say. So, and you do have to use them very meaningfully, and in some cases very cautiously, because they do lay out a lot of damage in many cases, or they have a lot of special abilities attached to them. And so, even at lower levels, right? So here we have it looks like a type of demon, an extraplanar, creature here. 4 hit die, which is not a whole lot. All right, but again, its bite does 2 to 12. Its claws do 2 to 8. That's quite a bit of damage for a 4 hit die creature. So many cases you're going to see that these creatures do dish out a lot of damage, or have a lot of special abilities attached to them as well. And so again, you're going to want to make them a focal point. I mean, here we have an undead, and you would think, all right, so it's an undead. It looks like not that it does like a whole lot here, but look at its hit die, 10 hit die, creature. So anywheres from 10 points of hit points to 80 on the maximum side, and the experience points 2,400 plus 10 experience points per hit point. Quite a lot of hit points, quite a lot of experience points for this thing as well. Let's see what its slam does, because it's not written straight up there. So let's see. Let's see what its slam does. Kind of weird. It doesn't. Oh, here we go. Mouths. Putrid Miser. It's combat. It has a touch of death. It is incorporeal. Oh, that's why. I guess it's the touch of death is the main thing. Can simply touch the living and drain their life essence. The cold, bitter hand can strangle or merely tap the spiritual and vitality from the living around them. In many ways, a mortal will loss of D4 decades. Other races that are half mortal or half human will lose D6 decades. Immortal races won't lose or suffer anything. I mean, it's going to lose D4 decades. That is insane how much time, how much life they actually absorb from them. So, like I said, some of these things are just crazy, crazy powerful, and you want to use them sparingly, very meaningfully, and and hopefully the player characters are really prepared for encountering some of these things as well. Continuing on through, we continue through the monster manual section of this, and a bulk of this is going to be that. A bulk of this book is going to be that, and we are going to get to the next section here, which I'm pretty sure will be magic. So 4 of the gods benign and maleficent, who gaze upon all. All right, so we have the calendars, sacred holidays. Then we have the deities themselves. So the heavenly one, the queen of the sky, the western mother goddess. We have the lord of the underworld. I'm sure this is a neutral. We have the lord over yin and yang, most likely neutral as well. We have the god of civilization, which is most likely going to be, it's lawful neutral. The god of farming, lawful neutral. The empress of heaven, which is most likely going to be lawful neutral. The yellow emperor is lawful good. The black deity is going to be lawful good. The white god is going to be, not sure yet. Lawful neutral. Let's see what the evil deities are. Dragon King is chaotic good. The yellow dragon is chaotic good. The Western Dragon King is chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral. All right, another chaotic neutral. A lot of chaotic neutrals here for the dragons. Waiting for the first one to jump out. That's the god of brothels is most likely going, it's neutral, pure neutral. Another neutral, medicine. Silkworms is neutral. God of wealth. is neutral. The moon goddess is lawful neutral. A lot of gods, a lot of deities in this. And surprisingly, a lot of like chaotic neutral and neutral deities in this, or lawful neutral as well. But a lot of neutrality in here. There was another lawful good one there. So a lot, way a lot. I thought it was going to come up a lot faster. Enchanted wizards and wise hermits. So we have magic and wizardry for this particular type of setting and mythology. So you might have some changes here than what you have in the player's handbook of Castles and Crusades as well. So you need to be kind of like on the lookout for that kind of thing. There might be various rules modifications and whatnot. Of course, suggestions and such, and you can you can use those if you're looking to increase some enhancement to your player's experience as well. But you can see there's a lot in here, a whole lot in here, and very detailed in a number of places. So creating martial heroes, and then this is the last page. So 129, really 128 pages of content. So there's a lot here to unpack. There's every one of these books has that level of detail and options that you can utilize, and I'm really glad that I will be very soon have all 9 of these books in my collection. Like I said, I can pull from these at various times throughout my campaigns to introduce something that my players are not really expecting. So it does really enhance your ability to introduce new things to your players, and let them learn a little bit more about the world that they're in, and and encourage them to do a lot more exploration than they might have normally done if they just keep on encountering the same mundane things, or the same things that they're just regionally expected to encounter. And so when you give them something that's kind of outside of their normal knowledge base for their characters will be encouraged to dig a little deeper, perhaps travel a little bit further and learn a little bit more about the world. So it will help make your world feel like a living, breathing place. The more and more variety that you present your group's player characters with. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to go into any specific area in much more detail, please leave a comment section in there, and I will focus on anything in particular that you might want to go into. Like I said, this is a real quick review of just the whole series and a review of the book itself. Not super in depth, but just laying it out there, what the book actually does and how you might use it. So again, thanks for joining in. I hope you had a great weekend. It's already Sunday evening, so I hope you had a great evening and weekend. And I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon, or at a convention. My next convention is going to be in June, so I have quite a long way to go. before that comes around. But if you are going to be in the New York area, especially, the what's considered central New York area around Utica, New York, in June, definitely check out the Central New York Role-Playing Game Convention. That will be there. That will be on June 14th and 15th, 2025. It's just a 2-day convention, Saturday and Sunday, and the events are taking place from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Both days. So you'll have a great one. Thanks for stopping in, and take care.